women's MMA is packed with bone-crushing head kicks, terrifying right hands,
that jab out there, and then
and sickening slams. Some of these finishes are awe-inspiring,
get you against the cage. And then now it's real.
while others are just downright brutal. Let's kick it off with a spine-crunching slam. Number 10, Jessica Andrade versus Rose Namajunas. Now, the first time these two ladies stepped foot inside the octagon was at UFC 237. Rose was the heavy favorite going in, as she was coming off back-to-back victories against Joanna Jedrzejczyk. It was looking like the strawweight division had found its new queen.
There's one who's really interesting. Her name is Rose Namajunas.
As Rose pummeled Andrade over and over again, with lightning-quick jabs and straight rights. But on several occasions, she attempted to pick up Rose and dump her to the ground, but Rose masterfully countered. However, you just need that one giant slam, and Jessica got that in the second round. Despite Dominic Cruz telling everyone that Andrade has no way of picking up Rose,
Cannot lift. She can't do it.
Jessica hurled the champ up and spiked her square on her head in a horrifying fashion. Number 9, Irene Aldana versus Vieira. Now, you don't often see the one-hit-a-quitta in women's matches, but when you do see it, it is unforgettable. This was the case when the two surging bantamweight contenders Irene Aldana and Vieira faced off. The best part about the fight was that either woman could put the other's lights out with a single shot. So it all came down to who was going to land first. And part of fighting involves keeping your cool. But Aldana had Ketlin rattled with her jab, and when Ketlin carelessly let her guard down, Aldana landed a bomb of a left hook, flattening Ketlin and providing MMA fans with one of the best knockouts in women's history. Number 8, Ronda Rousey versus Beth Correia. En route to her Hall of Fame career, Ronda Rousey had plenty of highs, but perhaps nothing felt as good as giving the Brazilian Beth Correia a taste of her nuclear power in front of her own fans. The two women had plenty of back and forth during their build-up, which is why Ronda seemed as if she was shot out of a cannon when the fight began. She quickly cornered Correia against the cage and landed a bone-crushing right hand that sent the Brazilian face first into the canvas. Number 7, Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang. Thug Rose has had a few magical moments inside the octagon, but we imagine the sweetest of those was recapturing her UFC gold belt, especially in an incredibly stunning fashion.
One day I had gave Rose. I said, Rose is hot. I said, and the Chinese girl that was fighting said, Mike doesn't know nothing about boxing.
Weili looked to be a force of nature at strawweight. It was almost as if she had no weaknesses. However, as the Star Wars movies taught us, it just takes one perfect laser to blow up the Death Star. And that is exactly what Rose did, as she landed a picture-perfect laser of a head kick, ushering in the Thug Rose era once again.
Right on the jaw, it's over. It's over.
Number 6, Holm versus Ronda Rousey. There are certain MMA defining moments which you just have to be there to fully understand. One of these moments was when Holm ended Ronda Rousey's destructive title reign in stunning fashion. Not only did Holm land a sickening head kick to knock out Ronda, but she outclassed her the entire fight. Of course, the crowning moment came when Holm spun Ronda into a thundering head kick and followed up with some thudding ground and pound. The beating was so bad that Ronda was never the same again. Number 5, Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Passing of the torch moments are often beautiful in sports, but in MMA, there is a sense of brutality attached to it. That's what we got when we got two of the best strawweights stepping inside the octagon at UFC 248. Previously, they had put on the greatest women's fight of all time, but this time, Weili had other plans. After looking clearly faster and stronger than Joanna, Weili set her up for one of the most devastating and unique finishes, as she spun around and landed a clubbing hand on the side of Joanna's head, which left her face down on the canvas. Number 4. Jessica Andrade versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. The powerhouse that is Jessica Andrade has provided us with more than one horrifying knockout after another. But perhaps her best one came when she faced off with Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Andrade has bombs instead of fists, and she was letting them go off over and over again on Karolina. She hurt her opponent multiple times before one nuclear bomb cracked Karolina's chin, and that was all she wrote. Number 3. Cris Cyborg versus Sinead Kavanaugh. When it comes to the most terrifying women's competitor in MMA history, Cris Cyborg is comfortably at the top of that list. She made a career off of beating other women bloody and leaving them unconscious. And perhaps the best and most horrifying example of this was when she fought Sinead Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh made the mistake of standing and banging with Cyborg and ate a jaw-breaking combination before the referee mercifully stepped in and saved Kavanaugh from further punishment. Number 2. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica I. Valentina has cemented her legacy as one of the greatest female fighters of all time. During her championship run, she seemed to be on another level than all of her opponents.
Valentina 125 is just a fucking monster.
Yeah.
She's a monster.
Yeah.
This was most evident when she took on the scrappy #1 contender, Jessica I. But for I, this would be a traumatic experience, as Shevchenko chopped her down with brutal kicks before taking her head clean off with one of the most lethal head kicks in MMA history. Number 1. Amanda Nunes versus Cris Cyborg. Amanda Nunes, better known as the greatest women's fighter of all time, has had a highlight reel full of devastating and horrifying knockouts. The best example of this was when she took on an equally terrifying opponent in Cris Cyborg. There aren't many women who have stood toe-to-toe with Cyborg and lived to tell the tale, but Nunes not only got the better of her, but landed explosive power shots, which broke Cyborg's granite shin and left her unconscious.